drop it.
But if you want to leave, take your things, forget all about me. Tell me why you failed to realize that you might not ever get another try. Girl, think about it before you leave. His body's got a brand new swing. If you wanna do your own thing, I hear what you're saying. Two can play that game you're playing, yeah. Two can play that game. Yeah, two can play that game too. Lately you've been acting mighty strange. To me it seems your attitude has
Sky. And welcome to the Legacy Marketplace event. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm Kay. I'm just going to play you a couple of tunes to get you in the mood. A little bit of 90s disco. So excited about what we've got here for you in store today as well. Don't forget to hashtag event refresh as well. And we hope to see you soon.
Don't try to come near me, so tired I sleep through the light. If you desire to lay you beside me, come to my sweet melody. Sing it back to me, sing it back to me, sing it back, sing it back, sing it back, 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 back. Bring it back, sing it back, bring it back, sing it back to me. Bring it back, sing it back, bring it back, sing it back to me. Bring it back, sing it back, bring it back.
And time won't take my love away.
Pump it up while your feet are stumping and the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. 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 Yo, pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are thumping. And the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd are jumping. Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. A place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. 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 Yo, pump up the jam, pump it up, pump it up. Yo, pump up the jam, pump it up, pump it up. Yo, pump up the jam, pump it up, pump it up. Yo, pump up the jam, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it.
My lover's got no money, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no power, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no fame, he's got his strong beliefs. My lover's got no money, he's got his strong beliefs. Want more and more, people just want more and more freedom and love. What he's looking for, want more and more, people just want more and more freedom and love. What he's looking for, freed from desire, mind and senses purify it, freed from desire, mind and senses purify it, freed from desire, mind and senses purify it, freed from desire. Na 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 na.
Hello and welcome to the Legacy Marketplace launch hosted by Legacy Events, the sustainable events agency and consultancy. Oh my goodness, huge thanks to Kay Russett. I am still going. I don't know about anyone else. I am buzzing. That's the best start to a conference or a show I have had in the last 12 months. And if you're up, stay up with me. Let's just keep boogieing. Let's keep this energy going for the next hour or so. So massive thanks to Kay Russett. You need her at your events. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me. I saw people in the chat. Jason was giving a bit of the old school vibes. Leah, hi Leah. Karen, Eloise, Eurisha was loving a bit of old school. And Rebecca, yes, I think we were all on our virtual dance floor. My name is Sam Allen. I am your event host today. I am a meeting designer, an MC, not like Kay, moderator, facilitator, whichever word that you like to use for someone like me. I run a meeting and design agency, meeting host and design agency called Sam Allen and Associates, very aptly named. And I'm trained in both online and in-person event design. I've been working for the last 12 months after I lost every single job I had, working, creating with my clients, engaging online experiences. And now we're moving into that exciting world of the H word. So the C word is gone. We're now into H words, which is obviously hybrid. Now, for me, the idea behind my agency is actually to create a sustainable offering to my clients. Back in 2019, when I was still doing in-person events, I traveled 40,000 miles in 1 month for 4 events. And that world has now significantly changed, and it's time to make that positive impact that we all can. So I now work with the best MCs out there everywhere around the world so we can support you with your reduction of your carbon footprint. So that's a little bit about me. Looking forward to getting to know you. I know some people are shouting out saying where they are. Let us know who you are and what you do. Let's get some networking going on in that chat, see if we can work with each other, because this is all about sharing. On to the show. I am super excited to be here to support the official launch of the Legacy Marketplace, which is a new and unique platform which has everything event organisers need to purchase or hire for a sustainable and a successful sustainable event, all in one place. The team at Legacy are on a mission, and boy, are they on a mission to connect and empower everyone in the events industry who wants to create spectacular and sustainable events and facilitate a positive change in the world. And we have, thanks to the Legacy team, a great lineup for you in the next hour or so. So firstly, we will hear from Legacy MD and founder, that is Abena Poku Awua. And she's going to share her story and what's inspired her to launch the marketplace. Then we're going to get the exclusive fly-through video of exactly what the marketplace is. I haven't watched it yet. I am as excited as you are. We're then going to be joined by Trang Chu Min from the London Stock Exchange Group. She's going to share her top sustainable event hacks. So get your notebook, get your iPad, whatever you want to write on, script, back of a sweet packet, can't say cigarettes anymore, obviously. We will look forward to hearing from Trang Chu Min because that's going to be incredible. Then we've got Raphael Sofaluki. He's the founder and CEO of UK Black Business Show and UK Black Business Week. And he is going to be looking into his crystal ball and telling us, yes, what we all need to know, the future of events, what is coming up next. Our last speaker will be Julius Solaris from Swapcard. You may remember him as the editor of Event MB. He's now moved over to Swapcard and he'll be sharing his tips on virtual engagement, something that I know all my clients are looking to do more of, and I'm sure you are too. And we have prizes. This couldn't be a launch without fun and excitement. We've had a disco, we've got great content, and we've got a quiz and great prizes for you. It is about sustainable events, so I hope you have gemmed up. Make sure you've got your mobile handy. I always find it easier when you're logging into Slido to use your mobile. So keep us here on screen, grab your mobile, find it, keep it on silent because you don't want to be distracted by anyone. Log on to Slido, the links will be in the chat and our number is #752-355. We'll put that all in the chat. Keep an eye on that. To close out the launch in an hour or so, we'll be discussing next steps and invite you all to join us in the Legacy Green Room to find out more about the quiz questions, more about the marketplace, and actually have some face-to-face conversation about your sustainable events strategies. We're streaming in YouTube, as you know, but a short reminder, if you haven't, if you've got any questions, stick them in the chat. I'm seeing all of this stuff, and thank you for sharing. Julia from Germany, studying still in the Netherlands. So we've got people not just from the UK. Great to have you here. Great to have you here, Karen, Rebecca, over in Glasgow, Edinburgh. Which side are you on? It's really good. Keep that chat going, and make sure those questions come in here. There is no such thing today, no such thing as a bad question. Anything that we can help you with, that's why we're all here. So without further ado, I would like to welcome the MD and founder of Legacy. It is Abena Poku Awuwa.
Hello, thank you so much, Sammy, and welcome everybody. I'm so thrilled to be able to welcome you to the Legacy Marketplace launch. I want to start off by asking you a simple question. What do events mean to you? I'm guessing that for most of you attending today, working in events is more than just a job to you. It's a passion and a love. Well, my name is Abena Poku Awuwa. I'm the founder and managing director of Legacy Events. We're a sustainable events agency and consultancy, and I absolutely love events. I love that feeling you get in the lead up to an event when all seems chaotic, but you know that everything will come together in the end. I love the feeling when you force yourself to go to an event when you don't really feel like it, and you end up meeting someone new or learning about something that changes the way you think forever. I love that feeling when you attend an event and you realize you're part of a unique moment in time. No one will ever experience that moment in quite the same way ever again. Events bring people together. I know you know that. They're the social glue. They connect us through shared experiences, and they're a massive part of our economy. There is a dark side to events, though, in terms of the waste they generate, the carbon emissions, and the general damage to the environment. At Legacy, we truly believe that we can create events and experiences that are positive without the negative impacts. We've been working with clients and event professionals for a while, striving to make events more sustainable. And then came the pandemic that's delivered the greatest shock to the global economy since World War II. Entire societies have been locked down, and for event professionals, the fallout has been absolutely brutal. We've been looking at it from another perspective, though. We think that perhaps crisis can be the catalyst for change. The last year has been an opportunity to step off the treadmill and take stock, to examine every aspect of our industry and see what still works and what needs to be adapted for this post-pandemic world. At Legacy, we see two problems. The first is that despite their value, designing and planning an event is still a manual process. The industry is fragmented. There's no one place for information. Customer reviews are still in their infancy, and there's no straightforward way of getting quotes from event suppliers and understanding how cost effective they are. Secondly, sustainability is now a mainstream issue, and it's increasingly under scrutiny in the events industry. Waste in particular is endemic, and there's really limited expertise in making the sustainable choice for venues, catering, accommodation, display materials, and all the other necessities that make up our events. So for us, it's clear that restarting the events industry without considering sustainability is not an option. So we've been thinking about how can we use the lessons from the pandemic to solve these challenges. This is our moment to reset ourselves, to reset our work and reset our impact. How can we help event organisers realise true event sustainability with none of the usual stress? So that brings us to today. That's why we're launching the Legacy Marketplace. It's a modern way to deliver sustainability without compromising quality or ease. Our platform connects event organisers to products and services that reduce their environmental impact and contribute to positive social change. We want to offer a clear way through the jumble for those who want to make a difference but don't have the time or expertise to source a sustainable solution themselves. We really want to champion event suppliers, especially the small ones. We want to raise the profile of sustainable businesses by introducing them to event organisers through our marketplace. So ultimately, the marketplace, the legacy marketplace, harnesses the power of the internet by making the process of planning sustainable events time efficient, convenient, and cost effective. We're here for anyone who wants to create sustainable events and facilitate a positive change in the world. We think that your time and our planet's resources are precious, so we don't want you to waste either. I hope that gives you a brief introduction to the Legacy Marketplace. I'd now like to pause and show you our quick preview video to help you understand the concept behind the marketplace and introduce you to the team. Thank you.
Welcome to Legacy Marketplace, a revolutionary online platform that connects event organisers with suppliers of sustainable event products and services. Developed for event organisers, by event organisers, and verified by sustainability experts. With time running out to fight the climate emergency, sustainable events have never been more important. The event sector is worth billions of pounds to the UK, but despite their value, events are still incredibly wasteful and have an enormous environmental impact. Bringing people together is important for your brand, your purpose, and for solving some of the world's biggest societal and environmental problems. But finding sustainable solutions for your event can be overwhelming. Not only is it time-consuming to search for sustainable options, it's difficult to be sure what you are buying is truly sustainable. Legacy Marketplace is here to help. Search, book, and buy everything you need for a successful sustainable event in one place. Shop safely in the knowledge that everything you purchase has been assessed by sustainability experts. No more lengthy waits for quotes. Upfront pricing and instant payment. You can also see the reviews from other customers, so you know what you're getting. To further support you, you'll find all of our latest sustainable event tips on our blog. Speed and simplicity in action. Together, we can create positive experiences without negative impacts. Your time and our world are precious. Save both.
Abena, why has this taken so long to create and have someone like Legacy bring it together? It's so exciting. In the chat, people are already saying, well done. Karen's saying it's so brilliant, just what the industry needs. Where was your inspiration, yours and the team, to sort of get behind Legacy Marketplace?
Thanks, Annie. We come at the events industry from a slightly different position. So I'm a scientist, several people in the team are scientists, and we come from a sustainability and environmental impact background rather than being traditionally from the events industry. And so I think we found that we could bring our expertise to the industry and perhaps explain some of the complicated issues in a way that some perhaps other scientists weren't able to. So I think we just found that we were able to translate the science, the complexity of sustainability into a language that event organisers could understand, and then use that momentum to build the marketplace and some other tools.
So just for someone like me, a layperson, very passionate about sustainability, this feels like it's some sort of Etsy, for want of a, but there's plenty of other marketplaces out there, but let me pick one, Etsy for sustainable events, products and services. Is that right?
That's a really great way of describing it. It's a marketplace where our suppliers compete with each other, so you know that they are cost effective. We want to put the control in the hands of event organisers, so you can compare prices, you can create accounts, you can add everything to a cart, you can check out easily. It's designed to work in the way that other e-commerce marketplaces work, just like Etsy.
And you're taking that pain away for us as event organisers, as I understand, in terms of we're going to have there'll be a peer-to-peer review, so we can actually see that these suppliers do what they say on the recyclable tin, for want of a better phrase. But also you're going through a vetting process, because we've heard horror stories where people have thought that they're buying a sustainable product for an event, and sadly the packaging is ridiculous and turns out that it's not.
Yeah, that's right. It's so important that the products and services on the marketplace are sustainable. I think we've all had that experience where we tried to do the right thing and then a product arrives completely covered in plastic, for example. And so it feels that we've gone to so much effort and it hasn't really been that successful. So we're really going to be working with our suppliers closely to make sure that what they say is what the event organizer actually receives, that their claims are transparent, that we've verified them, so that anyone using the marketplace can have trust that we have verified what that supplier is saying. So we're not saying that all products and services are perfect. We don't know, I don't think those exist yet, but we're saying that we have had a look, we've rummaged around in the literature, and we've tried to explain what that product and service does in normal English so that everyone using the marketplace can understand.
That's absolutely, it's great. And it can all be purchased. So we're not having, this is not, a subscription where we then have to go to another site to then another email or a contact to then put an order in and so on and so forth. It's all one stop, right?
That's right. The one-stop aspect was so important to us. We know we're busy. We know how busy everyone in the events world is. We've been there trying to get quotes, late at night, outside office hours, and we just thought that this needs to change. So one of the big benefits of the marketplace is it's more than just a directory, it's a purchasing platform as well. You just go on there, book what you need to, purchase what you need to, and then you can go back and do whatever else you need to do. You don't have to wait for lengthy quotes or any of that.
You alluded to at the beginning in your sort of your intro speech before we saw the video about the fact that, we're having an event. I like the phrase event refresh, hashtag event refresh for everyone who's on social. Event restart. We know that people have been running successful events during the pandemic, but how do we learn the lessons now during this 12 months of pretty much mostly lockdown for us, so that we can start designing and planning for a more sustainable future for events?
It's such a great question. And if you're in the UK, it feels like yesterday was the start, was the restart. We're free in some sort of sense. And so I know that with my team, we've been learning over the last year how to run an event and what makes a really great event. So we've had to go back to the drawing board, like everybody in the industry, and really understand the nuance of what makes a great event. And all we're saying is what makes a great event is the environmental impact as well. So as you go back to that piece of paper you're starting again with, just try and embed sustainability into what you're thinking is part of your event. So what makes a great event? Go back to those questions. What is the legacy of this event? What is this event for? And that should naturally lead to questions about sustainability. How can I reduce my impact? How can I contribute to the community for this event? How can I boost the social benefits of this event? So ask those questions right at the beginning when you're designing.
And designing and spending that time looking at that and really drilling into that why behind the event in the first place is what the large corporates, the smaller corporates, the SMEs are now all looking at in terms of the future, really questioning what is that value of events, and that's how the legacy team can also support clients, I understand.
Absolutely. It's a real opportunity, because I can't think of another time in the events industry when we've had the time to stop and think about, why are we running this event? What is the purpose of this event? What is the legacy of this event? How can we make it better from a sustainability point of view, and also just from a marketing and all the other issues that influence an event? So this is a really golden opportunity to stop, think about that, and then incorporate sustainability.
And time to move on, Abhinav, from the manual processes. We can book holidays, we can book weddings, bar mitzvahs, name small events. We can do all of this stuff, but yet we're still struggling to build out an event sort of with this manual process. You're seeing this is the start with Marketplace to see a bit of a paradigm shift in the industry?
Absolutely. It all goes back to that great reset, the great restart. We were all stuck in our old ways, following our old processes. We didn't have time to stop and think, is there a better way to do this? But now we've all spent the last 12 months ordering online. We know how e-commerce works. We know how much benefit it can bring to our lives. It's time to bring the events industry into the 21st century with automation, with reviews, with all of the other online factors that we expect from other industries.
Yeah, it's time for change, and I think this is the biggest change that we're going to see. Abena, it's great to have you launching this today. Thank you. You're getting some wonderful feedback. Gary, thanks ever so much. He says, well done, Abena and all at Legacy. This is fab, and I think there's a real positive, desire, need, recognition that this is the innovation the industry needs. Thank you, Abena, and we'll see you a little bit later.
I'll be back soon. Thank you, Sammy, and
See you
thanks again,
soon.
everyone, for joining us.
Thanks. Okay, what a great start. Really excited about this marketplace. Now, on to our first speaker. She is here to share her top wins for making events sustainable. So I'd like to welcome onto your screens the head of summits and sustainable events at the London Stock Exchange Group. It's Trang Chu Min. Over to you, Trang.
Hi, and thanks so much for the introduction. And I mean, it was amazing to kind of listen to the introduction to the marketplace, because it's one of the key challenges I think we as sustainable events professionals have, especially when it comes to, avoiding greenwashing and finding the right suppliers. So I'm really excited about the launch, and huge congratulations to the team as well. I just wanted to also thank you for getting me involved in this really exciting launch event. As I was introduced, my name is Trang, and I'm actually in a hybrid role across content, sustainability, and events at a financial services firm that has been recently acquired by the London Stock Exchange Group. Event sustainability has been actually kind of like a passion project that started out a couple of years ago, where I thought that, okay, events are great, but what's the carbon footprint on our environment, on our society, and what can we do to make a difference? And it has then become an official part of my role at the end of 2019. And I've developed a global sustainable events policy for the company. And of course, then COVID hit, which is really the elephant in the room right now. But I think a lot of the work we've done and the measures we've introduced in our events still stand. And it's something that I was hoping to share today, especially in terms of lessons learned, perhaps achievements, challenges that we've faced, to see whether it's also useful for anyone on this event that are in the same boat. So I mentioned COVID-19. It's been really the single biggest challenge, because I've for years been advocating for a shift from physical to more virtual events to reduce our carbon emissions, and never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that this would actually come true because of a global pandemic. But I think the past 12 months as our company have had to, like many others, cancel all of our physical events, and the sponsorship of third-party events that we were meant to be part of has actually kind of led to a mindset change as well. And I think Abena might have touched on this in her chat earlier, that we just realized that perhaps doing less is more, doing more quality events and more events on a virtual platform can actually make a difference and really achieve the same objectives that we set out to do through physical events in the past. And in our company, I think it has become more of a strategic decision to stay virtual and perhaps maybe combine it with a set of hybrid events and physical events in the future, in an attempt to really reduce our carbon emissions, especially when it comes to travel, transport, and energy consumption, to align with our objective to reduce business travel among our staff members, which we hope to mitigate by 25% come 2025. So doing more virtual events is actually a great way to reduce the amount needed to be traveled by our staff members. I think another area that is really important to look at is ensuring that these events are inclusive. And I think a lot of times the focus in terms of sustainability is on environmental issues, but I think the social aspects of it is equally important. And something that we are hoping to achieve with all of our virtual events and webinars is to ensure that all of them have captions and subtitles. We provide sign language where possible, and so forth. And also look at digital wastage. So work with technology platforms that power their data centers by renewable energy, or which really focus on providing energy efficient equipment. This is still a work in progress for us and a journey that we are on. But as we move towards virtual, we are aware that this is not, this is not the end goal, and there are still other sustainability issues to consider. And I think the other big challenge perhaps is, as we return back to physical events, as countries open up, is considering the amount of wastage that will be generated because of safety and precautionary measures, and how we can work together with venues to ensure that this waste wastage can be disposed of in a responsible manner. It's something that I think we are grappling with in our organization as well, how to kind of go about it. But it's an area that I think will require a lot of attention in the future. But I think on the flip side, there are certain opportunities, I think, that going back to physical events amidst or post the pandemic can offer. One being perhaps completely paperless, especially as I think venues encourage us to implement a no-touch policy to prevent the spread of the virus, and with governments really emphasizing the need to support local businesses. I think events professionals can also discover how to support local businesses and suppliers, which is something that I think a lot of sustainable events professionals have done anyways. But I think perhaps the COVID-19 pandemic has offered an opportunity to explore that further. And I guess my next slide is really talking about some of the work I've done pre-COVID around sustainable events and some of the examples of our sustainable events work as part of our organization. Our sustainable events policy initially focused on our large-scale proprietary conferences, the summits, and what we were trying to do is to ensure that all of these events were plastic, paper, and giveaway free. And in terms of giveaways, what we decided to do that instead of giving away gifts, we would have calculated the equivalent amount and donated to charity. And we wanted to involve our audience in this process. So we've actually selected 3 different charities for each of the conferences that we ran, which contributed to a specific UN Sustainable Development Goal that would align with our organizational mission, and ran a poll throughout the conference among delegates to get their preferred choice of charities, and would calculate the amount donated to that specific charity as a result. And I think that really allowed us to raise awareness on why we are not doing gifts anymore, and really kind of preempt some of the potential criticisms that we would have received. I think the number one objection I've heard throughout my work going giveaway free is that, say, in countries in Asia, for instance, people at conferences would expect a freebie, and this would be an issue if we don't do any swags. But actually, I think explaining the reasoning behind it, that it's not just because we are stingy or that we are just kind of making a decision without any reason, but kind of explaining that this is because we are trying to reduce our carbon emissions, our wastage, and the fact that a lot of these giveaways just end up collecting dust in people's desks, I think resonated really well with our audience, and the feedback has been immensely positive as a result. Another area that is really close to heart for me is working with our venues, especially for large-scale conferences where we typically work with hotels around the world, and introducing a sustainability questionnaire as part of the sourcing process. So sustainability is now a key criteria in how we select our venues, and it allows us to really gauge the sustainability credentials of the venues we work with before we even go into a contract negotiation phase. And I think as a result, we were able to kind of create this landscape analysis of what's out there in the hospitality and hotel sector, something that I struggled with when I first embarked on this sustainability journey when it comes to events, because I just found that there was not enough data on what's out there. And again, I think having that marketplace for suppliers is one way to really address that. And in the same token, we were trying to do the same with our venues, and hope to kind of continue this process as we go back to physical events. And besides local suppliers that I touched on before, we also tried to work with social enterprises that don't necessarily just offer sustainable services or products, but also reinvest part of their profits into a social or environmental cause that's aligned again with our organizational mission. As an example, at a lot of our conferences, we would engage a social enterprise locally that would reinvest its profits from these events into training at-risk youth and women as baristas, and they would run a mobile brew bar for us for a lot of these events. So it's a really compelling story to tell as well to our audience, and a great way to, again, kind of give back and contribute to improving the communities where we operate. And again, I think something that a lot of you probably are familiar with, we try to donate the leftover food from our events, or even work with social enterprises that would upcycle ingredients that would otherwise go to waste. So I think a lot of you in the UK might be familiar with Toast Ale, that looks at replacing barley with leftover bread to brew craft beer. So sometimes we would serve that in our cocktail hours. And there are a lot of other examples as well. And I know I'm kind of running out on time and speaking too much, so I'll try not to drag this any further. And if anyone wants to have more examples, I'm happy to kind of share after this presentation as well. And just on the slide, there's a picture of an exhibition stand that we developed for One Young World a couple of years ago, made entirely of recycled plastic. So that's another area that we've been exploring. And it's, again, a journey because it's striking the right balance between providing a sleek branding for our events, but at the same time ensuring that we are not generating unnecessary wastage. We try to go digital as much as possible, and that's fortunately also aligned with the kind of branding we have as a company. But when it's not possible and we have physical stands, then we look at upcycled materials. And just the final thing I wanted to touch on is diversity and inclusion. So again, I think sustainability often is focused on environmental topics, but I think, and I have a strong conviction that it has to address social issues in ESG as well. And in our organization, diversity and inclusion as a policy forms part of our wider sustainability efforts. So I'm currently working on launching a diversity and inclusion policy across our events globally. And some of the highlights of that work include saying no to all male panels at third-party events that we sponsor. And what we are trying to do is actually include this as a legal clause and work with the organizers to ensure that if there are males in the agenda, then we have actually the option to pull out and really apply the same to our own events, of course. And to support that, we are building a more diverse set of speakers and spokespeople that represent our organization as well. And that includes conducting regular training on public speaking, something that was quite surprising for me because even experienced public speakers in our teams have come to me and said that actually training would be great to empower people that would otherwise not necessarily speak so much in public to take the plunge and thereby really increase the diversity of our subject matter expertise. And I think, again, similarly to what we've done with what I guess Legacy has done with the marketplace is creating a central database of subject matter experts and speakers that events professionals within our company can go to navigate the type of talent that we have according to region and according to subject matter expertise as well. And just the final one is really talking about inclusive events. And I think I touched on that before, but I think the same applies to physical events where we would look at providing nursing rooms for mothers, prayer rooms, ensuring wheelchair access for everyone, and really just ensuring that we cater to the needs of people with disabilities. And I see that I'm running out of time. So this is just the final slide on some of the lessons learned during this journey. So I'm not going to touch on this anymore, but I'm happy to kind of address it as part of the Q&A as well. And yeah, thanks for the opportunity to present this.
Thank you, Trang. It's very hard. We are very mean, or the team are, not me, at giving you a few minutes to talk about such a big set of event hacks that you have been running. Thank you for saying you'll stay on and answer questions. Hopefully you'll join us in the green room after the main show if you've got some time to get involved in the conversation there. But we do have a question from Leah, which sort of encompasses probably what everyone is thinking of at home, which is, what have you found, Trang, that has had the biggest impact on making your events more sustainable? If you could pick one thing, what's that been?
Definitely going giveaway free. That was a huge, I think, shift, and I'm trying to kind of apply that in everything we do, so to ensure we walk the talk. I mean, we've recently become part of the London Stock Exchange Group, so there were discussions around providing a welcome gift to employees, and we've tried to not do that anymore. But besides that, I think it's really thinking carefully on how many events we actually need to run. So we used to, I think, organize over 300 events every year. And that's a lot. And it's a huge strain on both financial and human resources in the company. And I think the pandemic has taught us that we could actually achieve more with less. I know it sounds like a cliche, and it's the same thing with kind of going virtual and doing more webinars, virtual events. It cannot replicate the networking experience of physical events. But I think what we found, at least in our organization, is that shifting to virtual and doing less events has made the single biggest impact to becoming more sustainable.
That is a big power statement to end this part of the session. Trang, thank you so much. Do, if you can, stay with us. I'm sure we'd love to quiz you more. We want to hear about those learnings as well. But for the moment, can I just say thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. How much did you write? Because I know I've written about 4 pages of A4 paper, and yes, I can see the comments. Keep the comments coming through. We'll refer to them during the rest of today because it's very important that we hear from you. So keep those coming. Thanks, Rebecca, Karen, Julia, and Leah. I'm now delighted to introduce our next speaker, who has got the challenging task of looking into the future. Yes, the crystal balls are coming out. No mean feat, as I'm sure you'll agree with me right now. Raphael Sofaluki is the founder and CEO of UK Black Business Show and the UK Black Business Week, here to give his perspective on what's next for the events industry in terms of attendee confidence, sponsor confidence, and the opportunities for organisers to build on and innovate to make their events stand out. It's over to you, Raphael.
Thank you, and thank you for the introduction. I'm really looking forward to this session and great to be a part of this, the Legacy event. So I'll give you a quick kind of introduction on myself and then just go into my talk. So my name is Raphael Sofaluki. I'm the founder, CEO and visionary behind the UK Black Business Show, which is the UK and Europe's biggest business show for Black entrepreneurs and professionals in the UK. Created to inspire and connect, the UK Black Business Show in 2019 had just over 2,500 attendees and 110 exhibitors from across the UK, Europe, US and Africa. And since launching, we've been featured on a number of platforms, including BBC News, ITV, Forbes, BET, as well as working with a number of leading corporations, including JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs and American Express. So this year, as mentioned, we'll be launching the first ever UK Black Business Week, which is a week of events dedicated to Black professionals, entrepreneurs and allies of the Black community. And in June, I'll be releasing a book called Twice as Hard for Black entrepreneurs and professionals in the working world, but also for those who are not Black to understand the challenges of their Black entrepreneurs and professionals. So today's title, as mentioned, is, having a look into our crystal balls. So essentially, I'll be, giving my opinion on what the future of events looks like. So firstly, just quickly want to talk about, the attendee confidence. So, the event industry is nothing without attendees. And even with the easing of restrictions, we need confidence from attendees to get things fully up and running. So, what does the future hold for confidence in events? What are the experts saying? According to a new study, I think it's 90% of festival fans feel comfortable attending a live event this year. And the same study, which was run by Fest Ticket, surveyed around about 140,000 festival goers, finding that 79% of the respondents would be comfortable attending a live event this summer. That number actually increases to 90% when you ask them about going to an event throughout the rest of the year. And 82% of these people had already had plans to go to 2 or more festivals or a live event this year. So, with the UK event sector, really taking off and the plans for recovery set in place with the government, I think they've got a few test events which they're planning for. So including the FA Cup semi-final on April the 18th, which is expected to have around 4,000 attendees, and the League Cup final with Manchester City, around 8,000 supporters. I think from kind of looking at some of the stats and some of the research, for me, there seems to be a lot of confidence in the return of events. I think there's a huge appetite for people to get out and about, as we've seen kind of from the restrictions being lifted yesterday. And I feel like there is a huge amount of attendee confidence when it comes to getting events back into place. Also, really important is to kind of speak about that exhibitor and sponsor confidence. Essentially, these are the companies that are driving some of these events that are able to help us to put on these events. We all know the importance of events to the UK. I think it's 11 billion which the event sector contributes towards the UK economy. And I think the UFI quotes to say that globally it's around 325 billion, which is, total output, business sales. So as much as we've, had a great time digitally, having our events, I think we should not kind of downplay the importance of, engaging with people in physical environments. Though not all networking is done face to face, a lot of the research shows that, a business meeting in person can close a deal by a 40% close rate, which is extremely important. So, these figures, they elucidate just how important face-to-face interaction and networking is, and the direct implication it has on sales. And I think the sponsors and exhibitors, they showed an appetite to get back to live events during the pandemic. They realized that, networking online was not the same as it was in a physical environment, and it was something they just couldn't replicate. So what am I predicting kind of moving forward? I think June the 21st, when the government say there will be no legal limit on live events and larger events, I do predict us to see a number of large scale events taking place this year, and especially as confidence kind of grows with the vaccine, and a lot of people being covered and some of the things they're talking about in terms of vaccine passports. I do think that we will be getting back to live events this year. In terms of opportunities, I think we've mentioned it already. So, we've got digital events have been extremely successful for a number of companies, but for a number of companies, they haven't been successful. So I do predict, that hybrid model to be something which a lot of companies look to implement in a number of their events. They may have speakers who unfortunately can't travel. So some of the international events, we may not be able to bring down some of the speakers. So that hybrid approach with still having speakers to be able to deliver talks online could be a good approach. So, while we've all kind of experienced a number of bad digital events, if we're honest, we've probably experienced as well some bad live events, and that we've attended as well. So I think, there's 100%, a real opportunity for companies to embrace change and just, experiment with the different way of doing things with digital events. And I think it could be really interesting. Another thing I'll just like to cover is, diversity in events. I think during this pandemic, with following the death, the killing of George Floyd, a lot of companies have looked to address diversity and inclusion within all forms within their companies. And it's brought together a solidarity in the events industry, in which the COVID-19 has brought together a solidarity in the events industry, which we've never kind of seen before, with us, going out and protesting and just really rallying for the return of events. And as we discussed the importance of what we bring to the UK economy, it's also important that we realize our role, that we play socially as well, within the events industry. So a few ways in which I kind of speak about in terms of diversity and inclusion for organizations who run events companies. In terms of recruitment, are you thinking out of the box in terms of your recruitment? Are you going to the same old recruiters? Or are you going to shows like the UK Black Business Show or Women in Tech? Really start thinking out of the box when it comes to recruiting. And finally, that buy-in from senior leaders and hiring managers. It's important that it comes from the top. So, you must have the buy-in. The people at the top must believe in diversity and inclusion, or it will not trickle down. Secondly, the next point is, having that equitable hiring process. So are you going through the interview process, and at each 4 of the stages is, maybe a Black woman, is she being interviewed by 4 middle-aged white men? Is that interview process fair? Probably not. And then finally, you know, authenticity. Are you positioning your company as a diverse and inclusive workforce, but doing it authentically? So not just getting the token Black person or the token gay person or token disabled person to speak on behalf, but actually getting people within the company who are passionate about diversity and inclusion. So I think kind of moving forward in events, I do see, you know, more representation within panels. I do see, you know, more companies being more aware of diversity and hopefully seeing more diverse events when it comes to not only the attendees, but also the speaker panels and the exhibitors as well. And that's the end of my session.
Rafael, thank you so much. Again, I'm scribbling. I'm sure everyone at home or in the office or wherever you're joining us from have written a ton of notes. Really, really, really insightful information there. Again, not a huge amount of time to ask you lots, but we have lots of questions. As an industry, you know, we have a community here already, as you can see from the chat in our YouTube chat box. We've got some great communities you'll know in this sector with associations. What could we do as an entire industry better in terms of bringing more inclusivity? I see these 20 under 20 and 30 under 30, which when you're a little bit older than 30 is a challenge, but they tend to all be the same looking person. What's the one thing that we could do as a collective to make this change move a little bit quicker than the slow steps it seems to be taking?
Yeah, sure. So I literally just before this call, I got off. I'm part of the AEO Diversity and Inclusion Working Group, who are looking to champion diversity within the whole events industry. So I think you know, keeping an eye on resources, joining working groups like that if it's available, and just following thought leaders. I think being really intentional about who is speaking on your panels. Actually going to some of your sponsors and saying, okay, you've put this person forward, but you're constantly putting forward, white middle-aged men. Do you have any, people? Do you have any other women? Do you have any Black? Do you have any Asian people that you could put forward? So I think it's really about being intentional when it comes to change, and just really kind of being bold, and also partnering with groups as well in terms of getting that footfall of diverse attendees coming to your show.
I like that closing point that, yeah, we need to be bold. We need to be asking the question. We don't accept the same person. We actually open up that conversation and communicate and be bold. That's a perfect ending. Thank you so much for joining us, Rafael. It's been great to have you with us, and we will look out for you at the UK Black Business Show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks. Bye.
Wow, 2 great speakers, 1 more to come, lots more. But before we do that, we couldn't have a launch without prizes and fun. So it is quiz time, competition time. As I am now going to put my hat on as the Legacy Marketplace Quizmaster, I'm going to be showing you and asking you some questions on screen, which you can answer by downloading, which I'm sure you already have, and answering via the Slido app. The link should be in the chat. I think there might be a slide coming up so you can actually scan in to your phones the Slido link. The winner of the quiz will take home an incredible sustainable hamper, or we'll send it to your home because we're not together. These products are kindly gifted by our suppliers, soon to be featured on the marketplace. So you're going to get first taste of their products. Now, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I am quite jealous because they told me I couldn't join in. But some of the gifts are including a luxury candle, wireless charger made from recycled plastic packaging waste. Yeah, amazing. This has actually been deemed non-recyclable by councils in the UK, so an incredible product. We've got some vegan skincare products and a beautiful handmade mugs made by a charity that pairs people with disabilities with professional potters. What an incredible stuff, and much, much more. You, the winner, are out there, and we will announce the winner at the end of the show. So let's get started with the first questions, please. I will try and read these quickly for you. You're going to have 30 seconds, so it is time bound. So make sure that you put your answer in, and we'll talk about the answers a little bit later on as well. So join at slido.com. The number is, as I said at the beginning, 752355. Oh, we've got somebody saying that they're joining the quiz. The QR code's coming now, so it's being reposted. So question 1, don't worry because it is just for fun. Who said in 2019 that they found the graphic demonstration of global warming genuinely alarming? You've got 4 answers here. Greta Thunberg, Jeremy Clarkson, Sir David Attenborough, or was it Emma Watson? Please put your answers in and we'll see them at the end. It's tough. It's a tough quiz. Okay. Very varied. No, nobody thought it was Hermione. What a shame. Okay, moving on. Oh, I didn't realize that you were going to say it was going to be that person. Fabulous. Let's get on to our next question. Which action helps to save most energy in a venue? Good question here. Which action helps to save most energy in a venue? Is it turning off all the lights when not in the room? Leaving lights on only in the rooms you're moving in between? Is it putting a hamster on a solar-powered treadmill to power the slides? Or is it reducing food waste from delegate meals? What do you think? And Denise, just join in. It's only fun. You never know. Maybe somebody else hasn't answered all the questions either. So do keep joining for fun. There we go. And let's see what the right answer might be very briefly. No one was thinking it was a hamster on a solar powered treadmill. I have that picture in my head though now. Thank you, Avana, for having that there. Okay, question number 3. Remember the prizes. Which of these food options has the highest carbon footprint for your delegates at an event in London? Is it non-organic beef from Scotland? Is it lettuce grown in Spain? Avocados from Mexico? Or mealworms from Surrey? Again, quite a tricky one. Denise, I bet you know this answer. Let's see what you all say. Okay. Let's see what the answer is. And we'll get some explanations. It's non-organic beef from Scotland. Interesting. Abner will be back later to talk about these questions. No mealworms in Surrey. I think this might be our penultimate question. I've lost count. But which is least sustainable? Is it a plastic bag? A long life plastic bag? An organic cotton bag? Or a paper bag? Which of those is least sustainable? Pop your answers into the chat, into Slido. Let's see what happens here. So we've got a big vote for the plastic bag. Let's see if that is right. Wow, interestingly, organic cotton bag. 6% of you knew that. I wonder who that was. Was that Team Legacy? We'll understand and we'll pick on that with Abena next, or when we see her later on in the show. Possibly our last question now. How much smaller is the carbon footprint of a virtual event compared to an in-person event? How much smaller is that carbon footprint? 97%, 85%, 22%, or 100%? Again, quite interesting. Very close percentages up at the top there. What do we all think? Oh, we are going for it. And again, we're close, but 97%. That's really interesting, especially as Trang mentioned that we do need to be looking at measuring the digital carbon footprint of our events. But well done to you all if you've got these right so far. How do you think you've got on? We've got one more question. Which of these features does not make an event website more sustainable? Is it simple printer-friendly design, eco-friendly web host, using darker colours, or autoplay videos and animation? Which of those features does not make an event website more sustainable? Oh, we've got a real broad church for this one, and the answer is 23% of you got that right, autoplay videos and animation. And again, Abena will talk us through some of these. A great big well done to you if you got them all right. If you didn't, it's fine, because we're all on this learning journey together, and this is why events like this are super important. Tell me how you scored, or how you think you scored in the chat, because as I said, I found those really, really, really tricky. All answers and the thinkings around them will be revealed by Abena later, but a quick reminder as well that the Legacy team will be joining you in the Legacy Green Room Forum after the main show. There we'll be discussing the answers to the quiz in more detail, but also answer any of the questions that we've got in chat, and any other questions or queries or worries that you may have about your sustainable events strategy, or any events that you're planning. And that's all in a face-to-face environment. We can all say hi. How exciting is that? Now, last but not least, we are going to hear from Julius Solaris. As I mentioned earlier, previously the editor of Event Manager blog, and now head of engagement at Swapcard, as he shares his tips for event engagement. Take it away, Julius.
Hey everybody, I'm Julius Solaris and I'm the head of engagement for Swapcard. Swapcard is the leading all-in-one virtual event and in-person event platform for all your connection, community, business networking, and virtual events need. I'm very excited to be here as part of the launch of the Legacy Marketplace. It's amazing how we forgot all about sustainability while COVID hit, kind of similar to what happened in 2009 when the mortgage crisis hit and sustainability was all the rage. And then everybody all of a sudden forgot about it. It took almost 10 years to put it back on top of mind of a lot of event planners and professionals. Hopefully it won't take that long. I'm sure it won't take that long, because we've all witnessed the impact that virtual events have had. Not that virtual events are carbon free or do not contribute to waste of resources, but yeah, they're considerably less resource intensive than especially large events out there. But you know, we come from the event industry, so we're very committed to the in-person game as well. So it's going to be extremely important going forward how we manage the different impacts of events. There's going to be probably 3 likely scenarios that we're envisioning going ahead in terms of needs that will determine whether we meet in person or virtually. And a preamble to that is actually that in 2019, end of 2019, November, as I was writing the trends for 2020, as in my previous role as editor of Event MB, we actually put up virtual events as the top trend for 2020 for sustainability and resource saving opportunities. Obviously, that didn't happen in the way we envision it, but boy, did we have an experience over the past year in terms of virtual events. So a lot of things are going to change. We cannot expect virtual events to stay as they are today because we live in a sort of fake environment where everybody's working from home. Hopefully that's going to end soon, but especially in the business of events, we are seeing a dramatic change once we'll be able to go back to travel. Though for the reason number one, we tend to meet so small meetings where we need to travel all over the world to meet for a day in a small group, probably these events will be cut because we've all experienced how we can still close business without having to travel. It's an incredible waste of resources, a waste of energy. We don't need to leave our house. We can do it with Zoom, with a computer. We don't need sophisticated infrastructure to do it. We've learned how to do it, this collective experience over the past year. The second need is for those events that have a strong in-person component, larger events, where a lot of people will decide not to go, not to attend in person, but to attend virtually exclusively because they're limited in their capacity. There's still uncertainty about the virus that could go on for the next few months in many regions, or because they just don't feel like it and they just want to stay home, but still enjoy the ability to participate in content or networking. That's where the hybrid component is going to be strong, and where the digital part of an event experience is going to be increasingly important. The third need is the need of large events. And large events, digital component will be interesting as means to communicate and network, but not necessarily as means of attending. You can compare that to the experience of watching Super Bowl on TV. You watch it on TV, it's fine, but attending in person is a completely different game and a completely different industry, must I say. So the digital part of those events is not going to be as important. There still need to be and happen. We're thinking about large trade shows where everybody's there, and hence, that once a year you need to be there. The increased pressure on these large shows will be to continue the offsetting efforts that they put in place before the pandemic, and actually be on top of the game, because the sustainability crisis is not going anywhere. It's actually getting only worse. Therefore, increased pressure on these shows to make sure they comply with all the rules and all the diktats of sustainability, with obviously virtual being a part of it, but not necessarily replacing or being a side experience to them. So therefore, we're entering a new world where digital and virtual is going to be very important. What does that mean for you planning events? It means that you have to start evaluating digital as an integral component of your event experience program. Cannot do without. Whenever we mention hybrid experiences, really what we are talking about is in-person experiences with a component of digital as means of inclusion, because taking unnecessary flights all over the world is not something that everybody is going to be happy to do unless there's a very, very good excuse to do that. And also, I guess, reworking your business model is going to be incredibly important to be able to offer these digital experiences on the side of your in-person experiences, or in place of your in-person experiences in some instances. Therefore, think of in-person experiences as extremely premium experiences for selected audiences, or very large experiences whenever there's a community gathering, right? More than just another event. And I guess that also sort of when you think about the premium part of those experiences, the leverage is on ticketing, obviously. When you think about the digital component of that, the emphasis should be on the sponsorship models that you have for your events. If you've learned anything over the past year, is really how to manage that visibility of sponsors, and therefore shifting the focus on online marketing and also on 365-day engagement, right? That's the new buzzword. That's what everybody's thinking about these days, because all these silos of events that happen through the year, whether they're virtual, in person, or hybrid, really cannot be separate, cannot be separate instances where you have to reinvent the wheel every time. So thinking about your community strategy for 2021 and 2022 means really offering sustainable options for digital gatherings and in-person experiences where everybody gets together then on the digital platform that you select. So making sure that you have that in mind, on the back of your mind, and you work with your clients to, whether they're internal or external, to make sure that there's really an ongoing strategy to support an event-driven community, as we like to call it. Also, I think it's important to review how you budget for events going forward, with increased emphasis on virtual, not necessarily as means to cut budget, but to create virtual experiences, because it's great that you can cut on the flights, the hotels, food and beverage, and everything that happens around an event. But everything that happens around an event really creates that experience, right? So thinking that you're just going to cut on cost and really slash budgets and then create a Zoom meeting, that's it, it's just not going to work, isn't it? To elevate the experience and really create meaningful brand interactions or internal stakeholders interactions. Therefore, there's a shift of mindset here that needs to move from cost-cutting mentality to an online marketing mentality, where you generate revenue through online marketing, through digital, through virtual. You're saving incredible waste of resources. You're giving more inclusive opportunities for people around the world to connect without necessarily engage in expensive travel. And you're also giving a chance to those that don't want to travel to actually be there and attend. But at the same time, you got to justify that. You got to justify that need. You got to create FOMO. You got to create an experience. And you cannot do that by cutting. So the way you're going to do it is going to be increasingly important. The networking effect comes from the before and after of an event, not necessarily during the event only. So shifting that mentality to extend the life cycle of your event is probably how you're going to be more effective in creating that. So obviously, as WalkCard, we're very proud of entering the new phase of events, whether it's in-person, hybrid, or pure 100% virtual. And we like the message that virtual events are bringing along with them: a message of inclusion, a message of sustainability, a message of prosperity and revenue as well, because let's not forget, these are business tools that can help you thrive in a very, very uncertain economic environment. This has been me. I wish the best to the Legacy Marketplace, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Julius. Some wise words. Interesting, slightly diverse opinions to Raphael, but I think that's good. We need to hear those rounded opinions of what is going to be happening, and we'll keep in touch with what's happening with him over at WalkCard. Now you need to get your virtual drumsticks out for the drum roll, because we have a winner. I saw the comments from you guys. It was hard and really interesting questions. But there can only be one winner. So virtual drum roll, please. Can I hear it? Yes, I can. Huge congratulations to Georgina. Well done. Yay! Congratulations. That gift will be winging its way to you. Contact the team on social, or just email the guys at marketplace@legacy-events.com, Georgina, or anyone who wants to get hold of them. And I'm sure the contact details will be at the end of the show as well. So congratulations and well done to everybody, because I think I probably got one of those right. I'd like to now bring the person who gave us that quiz, the Quizmaster General, back on screen to explain some of the answers, because it was tricky. Over to you, Abena.
Hi everyone, please don't hate me. I am for indulging my love of a quiz on you all. It wasn't meant to be a really difficult quiz. I know some of the questions were hard. It was meant to make you think, and it's all part of our theme here today, which is events refresh, which is about starting again, tearing up your preconceptions, thinking about what it is you really understand about sustainability and is that really true. So I know some of the answers to the questions threw you a bit. To pick on one, the one about what's the least sustainable, the plastic bag, the long life plastic bag, the organic cotton bag, and the paper bag. I know we've all had it drummed into us that plastic is bad, and generally it is. But when you're going to your trade shows and you're being given your organic cotton bags, you have to remember that those organic bags take an awful lot of water to create, and so you'd actually need to use an organic cotton bag over 7,000 times to make it more environmentally friendly than a plastic bag. So that's one preconception. The other preconception is about virtual events. Not so much a preconception, just a lack of knowledge. What can we do to make our virtual events sustainable, because they're not impact free? So the options to that answer actually are things you can do. You can use darker colors on your website. You can use an eco-friendly web host. You can use simple printer-friendly design. These are really cheap options you can implement to make your virtual event websites more sustainable. So again, the point of the quiz was not to trick you or to catch you out. It was really to just make you think and to highlight the point that this is the time to start again, throw out the rule book, refresh your thinking, and also come and join us on the Legacy Marketplace, because we've done a lot of this thinking for you. So you can use the marketplace, securing the knowledge that we've verified the facts, we've looked at the suppliers, and so you can use the marketplace with confidence. So I know lots of you will want to discuss some of the answers to the quiz and also what you've seen today. So please come and join me on the Legacy Green Room now. I'm going to be there for as long as you want to chat about today's quiz, today's talks, and anything else about sustainable events. So there'll be a link in the chat to the Green Room. Come and join me in a minute to discuss the quiz and just talk sustainable events. And thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you, Abena, and the team for putting this together. We're very excited. Yes, as Abena just told us, we are coming towards the sort of official close of the show now, but we do want to continue the conversation over in the green room, and I can see that the link is there. Before we leave, I think, it would be great to hear from you. I'm seeing lots of people saying they're enjoying it. What's your takeaway from today? What are you going to do? Because this is the thing. My favorite quote is Yoda, do or do not. There is no try. What, after today, you've heard so much. What are you going to do? Show and share in the chat what you're going to do differently, your step, your next stage of going through this journey. And whilst you're doing that, I'd just like to thank all of our fantastic speakers. We had Abena, who's incredible, Trang, Raphael, and Julius. And we've now given you a glimpse of how the Legacy Marketplace will work, which was awesome. So please help Legacy to continue building the marketplace from the point of view of event organisers. Let them know any of the sustainable event suppliers you're working with or you'd love to see on the platform. They'll be sending out a supplier survey, and if you recommend, this is a good one, if you recommend a sustainable supplier, they'll give you a 30-minute consultation with the Legacy team to look at the sustainability of one of your events that you're currently working on. That's 30 minutes free consultation on one of the events in your pipeline. And as for accessing the marketplace, which is what everybody wants to know, you'll be able to access that the marketplace within the next fortnight. So the team at Legacy will let you know when it goes live. So the link in the green room is in the chat. Thank you for participating in today's launch and for making those incredible, important steps towards a more sustainable events industry. Together, we can create positive experiences without negative impacts. It's been a joy. Take care, keep washing those hands, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Legacy Marketplace, a revolutionary online platform that connects event organisers with suppliers of sustainable event products and services. Developed for event organisers, by event organisers, and verified by sustainability experts. With time running out to fight the climate emergency, sustainable events have never been more important. The event sector is worth billions of pounds to the UK, but despite their value, events are still incredibly wasteful and have an enormous environmental impact. Bringing people together is important for your brand, your purpose, and for solving some of the world's biggest societal and environmental problems. But finding sustainable solutions for your event can be overwhelming. Not only is it time-consuming to search for sustainable options, it's difficult to be sure what you are buying is truly sustainable. Legacy Marketplace is here to help. Search, book, and buy everything you need for a successful sustainable event in one place. Shop safely in the knowledge that everything you purchase has been assessed by sustainability experts. No more lengthy waits for quotes. Upfront pricing and instant payment. You can also see the reviews from other customers, so you know what you're getting. To further support you, you'll find all of our latest sustainable event tips on our blog. Speed and simplicity in action. Together, we can create positive experiences without negative impacts. Your time and our world are precious. Save both. Welcome to Legacy Marketplace, a revolutionary online platform that connects event organisers with suppliers of sustainable event products and services. Developed for event organisers, by event organisers, and verified by sustainability experts. With time running out to fight the climate emergency, sustainable events have never been more important. The event sector is worth billions of pounds to the UK, but despite their value, events are still incredibly wasteful and have an enormous environmental impact. Bringing people together is important for your brand, your purpose, and for solving some of the world's biggest societal and environmental problems. But finding sustainable solutions for your event can be overwhelming. Not only is it time consuming to search for sustainable options, it's difficult to be sure what you are buying is truly sustainable. Legacy Marketplace is here to help. Search, book and buy everything you need for a successful sustainable event in one place. Shop safely in the knowledge that everything you purchase has been assessed by sustainability experts. No more lengthy waits for quotes. Upfront pricing and instant payment. You can also see the reviews from other customers, so you know what you're getting. To further support you, you'll find all of our latest sustainable event tips on our blog. Speed and simplicity in action. Together, we can create positive experiences without negative impacts. Your time and our world are precious. Save both.